Hi, hello friends. How are things with you? So it's my first YouTube channel. So I am going to take NCRT summary of all the subject for the UPSC aspirants. So first of all, I will take political science from 6th to 12th standard. Uh, throughout this video, I am just going through all the essential points in this textbook so that you can just listen to this video throughout and grasp the fundamental basic points or concepts so that you can get an idea of overall the textbook. Okay, so we know the first chapter is understanding the diversity. So I am discussing the main points only. Okay. Okay, friends. Different religious and cultural backgrounds are an aspect of diversity. We know, friends, India is considered as a country of diversity. Why it is saying that? So the reason is that we know there are different religions are there, cultural backgrounds are there in our country. And the inequality comes about when a person does not have the resources and opportunities that are available to other persons. Friends, you know, there are both rich and poor people in our India, or underprivileged people or privileged people. Only those privileged people can afford or they can access all the resources and opportunities that are available in our country. But instead, the poor people who cannot access all that resources and opportunities, that is making a type of inequality among our society. Okay. Then diversity in India. We know India is a country of many diversities. We speak different languages, have various types of food, celebrate different festivals, practice different religions. Okay, friends, it is saying that we speak different languages. That's a fact that we know there are mainly 22 languages in India, and also there are many second languages, sub languages are there. Even though our global language is English, even in the local people speak English in various accents. That makes also a diverse in our language also. There is also various types of food we are eating and celebrate different festivals. We know, for example, we Kerala people who our famous festival is Onam. According to Tamil Nadu state, their festival is Pongal. So for various states and localities, there are various festivals are there. Okay, and the people also practice different religions. We know there are many religions castes are in India, such as Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Christian, Muslim, etc. Okay, that is also making a diversity in for our India. Diversity also comes about when people adapt their lives to the geographical area in which they live. We know we all live in different geographical areas. I am a Malayali, so here there are hilly areas, there are oceans, coastal areas, and also the mountainous such regions are there. In Rajasthan, like desert regions, we are familiar with, and also there are cold regions such as Jammu Kashmir, like northern regions are there, and then Meghalaya, Sohrala, Chirapunji, like rainy areas are there. So when the geographical characteristics are different, then that is making also a diversity among the people. For example, the people living near the coastal areas, they eat seafood, fish, etc. And the people are also fishermen, like extra. So, and the people who are living in mountainous or hilly regions, they are doing agricultural practices and buying, selling those agricultural goods, etc. So the geographical characteristics also making a diversity in India. Not only do people have different clothing and eating habits, but even the kinds of work they do are different. So it is saying that the people have different clothing and eating habits. It is making diverse, and also it is there is the point is that the people who are working is also making them diverse. Why it is saying that we know different kinds of people are in our society. We know lawyers are there, teachers, nurses, daily wage workers, and farmers, fishermen. So the people who are engaged in various types of works. So the work with which the works that are also making them diverse. City people seldom grow their own vegetables and grain, and instead they depend on the market to buy all the food and other goods that they need. We know uh, in the rural areas, most of the people are engaged with agricultural activities, and they at the same time, the city people who do not are doing any agricultural practices, and instead they depend on the markets for buying the goods. Okay. And now in this textbook there is a comparison between Kerala and Ladakh. Okay, we know Kerala is situated in southern part of India, and Ladakh is situated in northern part of India. Even though there are many geographical differences are there, some of the cultural or historical backgrounds are same in those two states. That is in the food people eat, the clothes they wear, the work they do, etc. So we can familiarize with the region Ladakh. We know Ladakh is a part of Jammu and Kashmir, which is situated in northern part of India. Ladakh is a desert in the mountains in the east of Jammu and Kashmir. So it is saying that Ladakh is a desert in the mountains in the east of Jammu and Kashmir. Very little agriculture is possible here, since this region does not receive any rain and is covered in snow for a large part of the year. So it is saying that in Ladakh there is no much rainy season are there, so that there is only a few trees are seen in Ladakh, and also the people depend on the melting snow for their drinking purposes. The people here keep sheep and goats. Okay, the goats in this region are special because they produce pashmina wool. So what is pashmina wool? So I think you are familiar with. You can see from from the picture pashmina cloth. Okay. So the people in Ladakh carefully collect the wool of the goats and sell this to traders from Kashmir. Okay, the people in Ladakh carefully collect the wool from goats and sell this to the traders from Kashmir. Pashmina shawls are chiefly woven in Kashmir. Okay, and it is saying that the wool is very expensive, and so that the pashmina shawls cost a lot of money. So by selling those pashmina shawls, the people in Ladakh can get a lot of money, and they can live in a good manner. The people eat meat and milk products like cheese and butter. Okay, each family owns some goats, cows and yak cows. So some of the people are rearing gods, cows like animals. Then being a desert did not mean that Ladakh did not attract its share of traders. Yeah, I have said that it's a desert like a region, but it does not mean that it is not a trade based area. It was considered a good trade route also. Okay, and these there are caravans travel to what is today called Tibet. uh, I can repeat, it was considered a good trade route as it had many passes through which caravans traveled to what is today called Tibet. So some of the caravans are there for the trade purposes. These caravans carried textiles and spices, rose silk and carpets. So that's why in that manner they are trading. And Buddhism reached Tibet via Ladakh. Ladakh is also called Little Tibet. Okay, it is saying that the Little Tibet, Ladakh is also called Little Tibet. Why Ladakh is called Little Tibet? The reason is that the Buddhism reached Tibet via Ladakh. Okay, Ladakh has a very rich oral tradition of songs and poems. Okay, local versions of the Tibetan national epic, the Kesar Saga, are performed and sung by both Muslims and Buddhists. And then it's all about Ladakh. Then I am going to Kerala. Kerala is a state in the southwest corner of India. It is surrounded by the sea on one side and hills on the other. So friends, Kerala is very very beautiful state, and it is surrounded by the sea on one side and hills on the other. We about the Western Ghats regions are situated there. Most of the hilly areas are there, and in other part there is also and Arabic Ocean, then Arabic Sea. A number of spices like pepper, cloves and cardamoms are grown on the hills. Okay, in Kerala, a number of spices like pepper, cloves, cardamoms are grown in the hilly areas. It is a spice that made this region 2000 years ago, and it is here, and he is credited with bringing Christianity to India. So wait friends. Okay, let's continue. It is spices that made this region 2000 years ago, and it's credited with bringing Christianity to India. Okay. And it's about Kerala. Many Arab traders also came and settled down here. For example, Ibn Battuta. The Portuguese discovered the sea route to India from Europe when Vasco da Gama landed with his ship here. So we know Vasco da Gama is the first Portuguese man who came in India, and India in the sense Kozhikode Kappad seashore in Kerala. Okay, and the Portuguese discovered the sea route to India from Europe when Vasco da Gama landed with his ship here. That's the sentence. And after that, because of all these various historical influences, people in Kerala practice different religions such as Judaism, Islam, Christianity, Hinduism and Buddhism. The fishing nets used here look exactly like the Chinese fishing nets and are called Chinavala. Okay. Even the utensil used for frying is called the chinachatti, and it is believed that the word chin could have come from China. The fertile land and the climate are suited to growing rice, and a majority of people here eat rice, fish and vegetables. So major people of Kerala eat rice, fish and vegetables. So it's comparison about Ladakh and Kerala. From that, we can understand that there are some of the geographical similarity in between Kerala and the Ladakh. Sorry, there is a difference between geographical characteristics of for both regions, but some cultural influences are there. Some historical aspects are there which are in similar kind. Both regions were influenced by Chinese and Arab traders. Okay, both the region Ladakh and Kerala were influenced by Chinese and Arab traders. It was the geography of Kerala which allowed for the cultivation of spices, and the special geographical location of Ladakh and its wool that drew traders to this region. So some of the spices are in Kerala, and in Ladakh there is Pashmina wool is there. So trading is possible there. Thus, history and geography are often tied in the cultural life of a region. So, for a cultural life of the region, history and geography is important. In our own neighborhoods, we live close to people from several communities. Our daily lives are about the ways in which we do things together and hear stories about each other's lives, customs, and traditions. So, when we live in a neighborhood, we our characteristics are get linked with those neighborhood qualities also. So that is also making different changes in our own lives. And then unity in diversity. India's diversity has always been recognized as a source of its strength. Okay, when the British ruled India, women and men from different cultural, religious, and regional backgrounds came together to oppose them. So we know that during the British rule, both men and women came together and protested against the British rule. India's freedom movement had thousands of people of different backgrounds in it. They worked together to decide joint actions, they went to jail together, and they found different ways to oppose the British. Interestingly, the British thought they could divide Indians because they were so different and then continue to rule them. It is saying that the British people think that even though the Indians are very different in a manner, so that we can divide them and to rule, but they were fault, because even though they are different, they are united in a manner to fight against the Britishers. But the people showed they could be different and yet be united in their battle against the British. So, and after that, there is a poem here by Indian People's Theatre Association. So, just go through that, and after that, it is saying that this song is written after the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. So we have heard about Jallianwala Bagh massacre, in which peaceful people were killed by the armies, and men and women, Hindus, Sikhs, and Muslims, rich and poor, had gathered to protest against the British also. Okay. Then the songs and symbols that emerged during the freedom struggle serve as a constant reminder of our country's rich tradition of respect for diversity. So it is saying that the songs and symbols that emerged during the freedom struggle, that is serving as a constant reminder of our country's rich tradition of respect for diversity. So, we know The Discovery of India is a book written by Jawaharlal Nehru, and in this book he is saying that it was something deeper, and within its fold the widest tolerance of belief and custom was practiced, and every variety acknowledged and even encouraged. So just go through that, and the main point is that Unity in diversity, it is a phrase that is first used by Jawaharlal Nehru for to describe our country. India's national anthem, composed by Rabindranath Tagore, is another expression of the unity of India. So it's all about our chapter. Then some of the questions are here. Different festivals are celebrated among our society, in which some of the festivals are celebrated in a religious manner, so that all the people, all the different kind of people cannot celebrate all together. But some of the festivals like Onam, Christmas, those are can be celebrated by all the people. So it is the question for listing out those different festivals, okay, that is celebrated in your locality. Then what do you think, living in India, which its rich heritage of diversity, adds to your life? Then do you think the term unity in diversity is an appropriate term to describe India? Okay friends, it's all about our first chapter. So I'll just go through this video, and I know there may be mistakes in my video or like that. So please please share this, and if you like this, you can like, and if you dislike, you can dislike, friends. And if you dislike, friends, please remember that you please comment why you are disliking my video, then only I can improve myself, friends. And please share your knowledge with us also. So keep with this our journey. Let's crack UPSC. Okay, bye friends, have a nice day.